Oop, whoopsie. Garcia forgot to turn on his Wi-Fi here. I can't believe I did that. I went to the opera last night. Life is hard for me. We're going to go ahead and see if we can switch this out. Okay, now we're connected. All right. I don't know why I can't just switch. Why? I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Either way, welcome to Tao of the Day. This is Friday. This is Martin John. And we're going to be talking about the Tao Te Ching. It's what we do every morning, talk about the Tao. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE. We can talk about it as the way or the path. I like to look at it as the nature of the universe, the way things are. It helps us live a more reasonable life. The Tao Te Ching is filled with all sorts of enigmatic wisdom and insights. Someone yesterday told me that I was very insightful. And I don't know that I would be as insightful as I am if it weren't for the Tao. The Tao really kind of stretches us to not be as cynical as I remember one time I talked to somebody and, the question within the Tao was, what's more dangerous, success or failure? The idea being that are you more dangerous as a failure? Or is it more dangerous for you to fail? Or is it more dangerous to succeed? Let's look at all the people that have succeeded in our world, right? I was talking to someone yesterday and we were talking about the idea of philanthropic pursuits. And I'm in Chicago. And if you're in the United States, philanthropic pursuits mean a very specific thing, because before Rockefeller and Burnham and all of these uber wealthy people, philanthropic pursuits weren't important. And what happened is those people got, so wealthy, and the consumer lifestyle that we live today wasn't in place. We were consumers, don't get me wrong, but there weren't products that you can spend ridiculous amounts of money on, or pursuits that you can spend ridiculous amounts of money on so that you can spend on your wealth. It was impossible. Money became a silly thing to those people. It became something that they had a lot of and they could never spend in their life. The problem is even a billionaire can spend down their wealth in a lifetime today, because you could just buy stupid things. And that's what we do. So it's interesting. We were talking about philanthropic things. And I was like, back then, the Burnhams and the Rockefellers and the whoever else's, I can't even think of their names. They competed amongst each other, not to be more wealthy, but to be more philanthropic. And that was a competition that happened after they became wealthy. Well, you don't see that between, Bezos and Musk and all the other billionaires and Oprah and all that, Oprah may be philanthropic, I don't know. But there's no competition for them to be more philanthropic. And if the wealthy, or the people that are that wealthy, aren't going to do that, they do become a drain on society, because they aren't turning those dollars. But we're going to bring Laura up and we're going to talk a little bit about her. Let's see what's going on. Okay, she's not there. Then we're going to bring Mark up and we're going to chat a little bit. Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm terrific. It's 4:00 in the morning here, so I never listen to you live because I'm not awake at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I know. We've spoken before.
The funny thing is, sometimes I do, and it's like an epiphany every time. And this was the biggest epiphany ever. It's like the biggest epiphany ever. So I'll try to share this with the other 47 people that are here. like a lot of people, I consider myself smart and intellectual, but I'm also humble and realize there's something beyond intellectualism that's like illustrated by the Tao, right? And in fact, this is just a trip. I was just writing a cone, and the cone I wrote on LinkedIn, minutes ago, and before I logged into you, I got the notification to log in because I woke up in the middle of the night. The cone was, if my, your, or our simple minds have a conflict between love and logic, ignore logic. Right? It's a cone. It's a perfect Tao thing. And it's perfectly consistent with the Tao. And there's probably one of the Tao elements that tells you the same thing, right?
Well, I would, the only thing that I would is like what that then does is creates a standard, right? It creates, and so I read a Tao yesterday that talked about the idea of rigidity of any kind is a companion of death. Flexibility of any kind is a companion of life. And so what happens when we say, if then, like if this happens, then do this, you create rigidity, right? So it's really, it's so fascinating. The Tao, and that's what's great about the Tao, because it's fun. Because like if you try to boil this down into something, it keeps slipping through your finger.
Yes.
And so it's like, well, yes, unless that's not what you do. Right? Like, so yes. And so that's what's so, at least that's what captures my heart in the Tao, is that like, the more we try to boil it down to something we can understand, the less it becomes that which we boiled it down to. Right? And, it's, I love, and in the Tao, we talk, there's a lot of talk about not having preference. So don't have preference, don't have desire, don't have these things, right? And like, this is a common thing. And in my life, I have lived to not have preference. And well, I published my Tao, and I didn't really do anything with it. I didn't have a book release. I was just like, well, I just did it, whatever, it's all good. And I realized that like, not having preference to celebrate it or not, moving in that direction is fine. It's fine. However, there's a point where having a preference to not have a preference is rigid.
I get it. I understand.
And so
I wrestle with this every day.
Right. And so what ends up sort of happening is like, you know what? I almost have to have a book release party. So now that's going to be my workshop and book release on November 2nd and whatever. So I'm doing that literally as a way, because, how do I want to put this? Because I was using not having a preference as a protective mechanism just in case people didn't support what I was proud of. It took me a long time to recognize that I use something good for me to continue to escape, right? This is like drugs. This is like anything, right? This is like I was using that to not grow.
Can I interject one thing? You'll find hilarious. Yeah. Just yesterday, I was with my nephew who's like 40, and he had this transformation in his life, and now he's just a woo-woo spiritual guy. He's super cool. And yesterday I told him, kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way, that, and I'll just make this real quick. I'm 57. I've had problems with drinking since I started drinking at 11, so I have problems. But I'm a smart guy, so I generally, they haven't been too big. But, once every 6 months, I get drunk and cause a problem. So I told him that some of these AA guys, they turn their life over to God, or they turn this whole process over to God, and God's going to take care of them. It never made any sense to me from a logical perspective, right? From a preference, or from a rule perspective. And so what I came to just recently, and I love it, is, I want Jesus in my life. And I'm not denigrating Jesus at all. It's spiritual, mystical stuff. It's great. But some people are so Jesus, they're black and white, and they use Jesus as a black and white. They use Jesus to do what you're saying is a problem we all could do with the Tao. right?
Right.
Anyway, so the point is, what I'm getting to is, I used to say I'm not going to drink more than 3 drinks in any one sitting, right? In any day, I'm never going to drink more than 3. But I failed and got drunk. And I always failed. And I always went back to that. And I always failed. So what I said is, no. It's not 3 a day. It's 3 a week. And it's an absolute rule. I don't care about this Taoist stuff. And I don't care about, denigrating AA people for needing God. 3 is my God, right? You get my point here, right? So I don't care about the rigidity or any of this other stuff in this realm because I've got a, almost 50-year history of failing. So I have to be humble enough to say nothing works for me as the way I want it to work. So I'm just going to say for the rest of my life, this is off the table, right? I'm not going to have a problem anymore because I'm just going to defer to the rule. And there's never a situation. My best friend could get married, which is always a great excuse to get drunk. I don't care. I'm not going to get drunk. I'm just going to have some other way to have fun, right? Because I have a rule, and the rule is paramount. It's first. So anyway, you get my point and how it's relevant to the discussion. And one other thing, the only main thing I wanted to say, the reason why I called in is because your point about Bezos and Gates and
Musk.
Not Gates. Gates is kind of an exception. Yeah, I got to tell this thing.
He's trying to do it, but I don't think he's so benevolent as he claims he is. But
exactly, 100%. That's enough. We don't need to go any further. And I can just get to the point. These guys, they're deluded and they think they're separate from the universe in a non-Tao way. They're not separate from the universe. So their ego and their name means nothing. Maybe in 100 years from now, maybe 500 years from now, we'll all remember Musk's name and speak it with reverence. But the reality is, you and I believe the Tao will be more understood in 500 years and names will be irrelevant, right? It'll be something else that's remembered. It is really your goodness and what goodness you did. Rockefeller building libraries is far more impactful than sending half the world to Mars, from my perspective. We're still going to have a bunch of problems if we don't like each other and be kind to each other. So who gives a shit about going to Mars when we're not working on the fundamental problem of not seeing things clearly, which libraries help more than rockets.
And I would argue that, Rockefeller didn't go to the library very often. And Musk and Bezos, they just want to get to space. They just want to get to Mars because they know this planet's fucked.
You know what's clear?
So they're not trying to get half the planet. They're trying to get themselves there. And
I love this.
This is
different. This is different. What just popped into my head? They want their name on their rocket for the exact same reason Donald Trump wanted his name on the refund checks for COVID rather than a Treasury official. They want their name because it's ego. What they really want, they do want good things to come from trips to space. 100% they want good things, but they want their name. Exactly. They want people to remember them as providing that mechanism. The name Musk or the name Bezos, it isn't selfless. It isn't. But that's fine. Good things can come from non-selfless actions. I'm not saying that.
And the big thing about the Rockefellers and all of these guys that built libraries and stuff is they didn't use libraries. They wanted their name out there. They wanted credit for being good people because they knew that they were horrible people.
Yes.
Right? The difference between, Bezos and Musk and all these guys is that it's okay for them to be horrible people because our society,
basically they're giving the people what they want. What they think in their mind is they're giving the people what they want, and you can't fuck with human desires. So they're just giving you what they want.
That's marketing. We've learned.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Anyway, I'm done with anything I had to say.
Well,
but
let's
I just
pick a number
and
to give me somewhere between 1 and 81.
So, I've done this before, and the first time I called in, I had no idea what this. No, I didn't know how you worked at all. Now I do. So I'd like to do my birth year. Not that it's relevant to anything, but I like it, is 67. And I don't think I've ever told you the number 67. I've given you 2 numbers, at least 2 of my favorite numbers, but 67 isn't one of my favorite numbers. It just happens to be my birth
Okay.
year. So I could do it tongue in cheek, like in a Musk or Bezos
we're
or Rockefeller way.
Like this is actually really perfect for what we're talking about. It's entitled The Three Lessons.
That's so great.
And this is going to really talk to us about what is important in life. Right. And then, that's what we're really addressing. We're addressing people that are lost and caught in manifestation, right? Musk and Bezos. They're caught in the idea that it's the things that matter. It's the money. It's the stuff. It's the, and they both they invent stuff and they sell stuff, and their whole lives are around the stuff. And they try to get us to care as much about stuff as they do.
One thing real quick. I thought about this a lot. And one thing, Bezos is way worse on this point, to your point, because what Musk does, he's got rockets and some other stuff, mainly cars. His main wealth, obviously, he's wealthy because of cars. So he's got stuff. He's got one thing. You know what Bezos did? He put a curse on the planet because he created a stuff creating machine, right? So his tax on the planet is way worse than Musk's, because Amazon is ostensibly a solution, but it's a net problem because it's a stuff generating machine. It feeds off human wants, not needs. And so it's created this the biggest thing in all of history to create stuff. That's what Bezos did. And he wasn't doing it to some sinister, nefarious thing. He thought it was giving people what they want. The problem is humans don't know what they want, so they keep buying and desiring more shit, and Amazon facilitates the production of that shit, which comes at the expense of the planet. It's just logic.
Yeah, caught in manifestation. And that's where this starts. Caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. Others say it is a beautiful idea, but it cannot be achieved. They cannot see that it is neither an idea nor something to be achieved. Lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. Tao asks us to live with only three things: compassion, moderation, and humility. With compassion, you will be able to care for all things without having to ask if they deserve it. With moderation, you will be able to be generous without them needing to prove they are worthy of it. With humility, you know you are going to die like all things. Thus, you treat all things with dignity and respect. Abandoning these will only lead to trouble. See, what we see here is that these are the only three things you need. You don't need money. You don't need stuff. You don't need to go to space. You need humility. You need moderation. And you need compassion. And with those things, you can care for everything on the planet.
Yeah, it's perfect. I'll just say one thing. So my time's almost up here, and I know you're going to go some more here, but and I'll listen. But you're doing a huge service. And it'll say hyperbolic, but it isn't. You're recording these things. So anybody that says, how should I look for a particular guide or a piece of motivation? And somebody else can say, oh, well, episode X of this John Garcia's guy's stuff is helpful on this front. I mean, not to be goofy, but it's like, that's more valuable than anything I've heard. Well, I shouldn't say that. Musk and Bezos can be very, very inspirational, and they're super smart. So they've said good things. But anyway, you're recording things that can help other people see and live in a better way. Just you're promoting compassion in a tangible way, right? Not just being nice to a person on the street that no one will know about, but you're recording something that other people can experience over and over and over and over if they want to, which is fantastic. So I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't care.
Perfect.
I say everything is stupid, even this. Like, yes. I do it because, and the thing is what I'm doing may very well help somebody, but I don't. I do it for me. I do it because I love to do it. I do it because I love to connect with people. And your time's running out, but thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate, and I'm glad that we reconnected. We'll reconnect again because I know you're writing a book, and I hope that's going well for you. So to what Mark said, yes, I'm doing this, and people can use it, and the world is filled with stuff. This is just another bit of stuff that the world is filled with. It's just stuff. Yes, I like to think that I speak some truth. I like to speak but I don't know. I mean, in 6 months, I might realize that this is all stupid and you know what? I'm going to go be a day trader. I don't know. I can't imagine that that's going to happen, but truth may not be what I think it is. I think it's truth. I mean, I'm reading the Tao and I'm, trying to follow the Tao. This is something that was written a long, long, long time ago, right? 3,000 years ago. And it all still makes perfect sense to me, right? So when I read this 67, right, there's this, that's the thing. If I were to read this first line, caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. And we were just talking about being philanthropic and how that's not something that people really embrace anymore. It's like the idea of being philanthropic is stupid. Well, it's stupid to be philanthropic because, this is about you and you got to go out in the world and earn and it's yours and we're all separate, right? The duality of everything. It's like, yeah, like I don't know what to say, but this is this last line. Abandoning these 3 lessons will only lead to trouble. Look at where we're at. We're in a place where we're going to have to leave the planet in order to survive. We're in a place politically right now in the world where it's either, there's all of this all or nothing, me against you and fight kind of mentality. Like there's nothing good here, And you can trace these back to different decades in our history that led us to be where we are. It's it's sinister how things unfold, so slowly. And they get us caught in this, and I'm not trying to be, confrontational or say, like the United States is stupid. I mean, it is, but it's stupid. But like I said, even what I do is stupid, so it's not like I'm saying something is stupid and other things are great. Everything is stupid and everything is great. It's great that I'm doing this because I want to do it. And, I was talking about this the other day, and I talk about this idea, I've been saying everything is stupid for years now. And the idea is that if everything is stupid, why would you do anything you didn't passionately want to do? Because if I passionately want to do Tao of the Day, and I know it's stupid, but I want to do it anyway, that means it's worthwhile for me. Would you get upset if we told you that your livelihood was stupid? The thing that you do is stupid. If you were to get upset about that, then the idea is for you to think about why is it that upset you? Why did it upset you that that someone thinks that your livelihood is stupid? Does it matter if you love what you do? Right? You get this idea, someone's judging me about what I do, and no, I'm doing good, and you raise your fist and you start saying, I'm doing good, and this is me, and I'm right for doing the job that I'm doing. Like, so what? You love what you do, and that's what's important. Right? Whether people think it's stupid or whether people think it's great or whether people really kind of, like, it's not about getting credit for what you do. It's about doing what you do and being who you are. No one needs to think anything about what you do because it's your life. When we're caught in manifestation, people say Tao is stupid. And that's okay because it is. Right? Like, I mean, this is like, I wrote this, I mean, I don't know how long ago I wrote this, but this is what this is referring to when I say everything is stupid. Caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. And does Tao care? No. Because Tao knows it is not stupid. Tao knows it is great. And it's great because it is just what it is. It doesn't have to be anything else. Julie's going to join me. Oh, did she? Oh, okay, there you are. How you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing all right. Van day today.
What's that?
Van day. It means that the van has gone into van hospital.
Oh, van day. I thought you said Band-Aid. I was just like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah, just stop being cryptic with me, Julie. Just get to the point and be yourself.
I was just like, this is so stupid, Julie.
Yes, well, say it.
Come on. So your van is in the shop, and it's going to be less expensive than you.
Well, we don't know that, but that's fine. That is what it is. The thing is, though, is I got on a train today. I got on a train at a place that I didn't know to do a journey that I didn't know and get off a stop that I didn't know. It's all exciting stuff.
I remember being a kid and having to take the bus. And the bus is strange, man. Like when you're a kid, the bus, because especially if you don't know the streets, you're like, how am I going to know when? And I used to tell the driver, I was like, could you announce this stop? And he'd say, yeah. But I'd sit down and he wouldn't announce anything. And I'd be like, did he forget? And then I'd go up and I'd ask and he'd be like, no, I'm going to tell you. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh, good.
I've done that as well.
Yeah.
I've been right
I was like, did we pass? I said I'd fucking tell you. I was like, oh, good.
I know. But the thing is you're sitting on tenterhooks, and the whole journey then is
That's
just,
right. That's right. Because you don't know and you don't trust and all of this.
Yeah. It's funny. I've got a number for you. Number 32, please.
32. It is not what you can see. Because you can't see your stop. I don't know. Let's see. It is not what you can see is the title. Let's see. It is not what you can see. So my guess is it's just talking like Tao. And this is what I was talking about with Mark, the idea that the more you try to make it understandable, the more it slips through your fingers.
Yeah.
So let's see what this says. So subtle is Tao, it has never been seen. Yeah, and yet nothing that can be seen is without it. When beings can remain centered in Tao, all that they perceive is in harmony. As that harmony inspires actions, those actions will have names. Know that those names are provisional. If those actions inspire institutions to form, know where their reach should end. Inspired actions, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously. Tao is behind it all, even if you can't see it.
So, if you love your job, Martin John, just love your job.
That's right. And there's no reason to and there was a verse that we read the other day that talked about this idea of like identifying something and being inspired, inspired actions, I think was the title of it or whatever. And it's like, when you're inspired, just be inspired. Don't go calling yourself a cook or a chef. You're inspired to cook at this moment. Don't be labored under the idea that you are now a chef, even if that's how you make your living. That's the thing. All of this naming bumpkiss is revolved around a society that has been built to be something. Everybody needs to be something. Here in the United States, I don't know how it is there, but a lot of people ask, well, what do you do? I am. Isn't that enough? Breathing.
First question. Yeah.
That's
what I do.
Well, what do you do? What do you do? I don't answer stupid questions like that. That's but it's like, and I fall into that same problem because I don't always know what, like, it's just like, oh, so, what do you do? And, people will ask me like, well, what do you mean? What do I do for fun, or what do I do? And I'm just like, well, however you want to answer it.
Yeah.
I want to leave it open to you. Like if that's, because then you'll tell me, sometimes I'll ask, what do you do for a living? Especially when I'm working with a client because I want to talk about their work and stuff. But really it's like, who are you? I think this. What do you think? I read the Tao. Can you pick a number? That's what I like to do. I'd rather ask that than ask people what they do. But even on here, I'm asking people what they do so I can get an idea of their identity. Of the identity that they've made themselves.
Or even an idea
and then
of
when
their
I ask them to pick a number.
I think.
Yeah.
I think when you ask someone what they do, I think you're asking them about how they're experiencing the world, really, more so than when someone asks you at some gathering, what do you do? So they can station you, they can place you in a hierarchy, either above them or below them. That's a lot of why that what do you do comes out. It's like, let me gauge where you are in society. Do you deserve my respect or not? And it's very strange. It's a very strange thing.
Cecilia just sent me a message saying when people ask her what she does for a living, she says, I live life. Beautiful.
I think we all do that. That's the thing. What do I do for a living? That's a great question.
Right, yeah, I live.
Maybe trust would be a great thing. I trust. Yeah.
I'm gonna reread this because it is fairly short, but it is and I'm gonna pause at maybe a place or two, and we'll chat about it.
Okay.
So subtle is Tao, it has never been seen, and yet nothing that can be seen is without it. I really like that because it's really just kind of wraps everything up. You've never seen Tao, and yet nothing you've ever seen, like everything you look at, is Tao. Everything you receive through your eyes and everything you receive through the energy and everything, it's all there. When beings can remain centered in Tao, all that they perceive is in harmony. And even as we think about the van, the van's not in harmony because it's not working, but it is in harmony with everything else.
Yeah.
We could judge it to not be in harmony, but it is in harmony. It is always in harmony.
Exactly.
Just because you didn't want it that way.
And then I get to experience going on a train, and I get to experience doing a 45-minute walk back from the train station, and the things that I see. I picked up Conkers, ready for a Conker match with Brad later on.
Yeah, I know about Conkers. I don't know. Do they break?
Sometimes the Conkers will hit your knuckles, and that kind of stings a little bit. But the point is to break the other person's conker.
And you do they get like, I don't know what a conker is.
It's a horse chestnut fruit. Basically, it comes in a prickly casing, and when you get it out from the casing. They're not at all edible, by the way, so don't even try eating them. They have a beautiful sheen of chestnut brown, little round ball, nice and hard. And the things about playing conkers is you can get to prepare your conker, if you like. You can bake it, only for a short time. You can pickle it. You can do all sorts of things to it to try and make it.
Can you shellac it?
Withstand. Sorry?
Can you shellac it?
What does that mean?
Can you cover it in a shellac, in a
lacquer?
A lacquer.
If you want to. Yeah, you can do that. all allowed. A nice hard varnish, maybe. But you see, it depends because one conker can be more dense than the other, you see.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't it be heavy for the size then? Is that how you pick a conker?
I pick a conker that attracts my attention. There's a lot. I picked up 5 because I'm not really sure which one I want to bash Brad with yet. Let me see.
And does he have to pick up his own, or do you buy?
Yes, absolutely necessary to pick your own conkers, because then there is no blame. Is there? There's no blame then, you see. So you pick your conker, And now me, I like to go for a small conker that will continually bash away at the opponent, but be small and conspicuous, less conspicuous, so it'll be missed quite a lot, hopefully. That's my fact.
Now you hang these. Is it true that you hang these from a string, or how do you do it?
Yeah, you thread them through with a string and tie a knot in the end to make sure that it doesn't come loose. And also you have to be aware that your knot doesn't actually embed itself in the underneath of the conker when it's being hit, because that can break your conker. There's a lot of stuff to know about this conker game.
Wow. That's crazy talk.
It's fantastic. And it's
I've
played
only
when we were children, and I like to play it now. I've got a cracked conker here, Martin John.
See?
That's a reject.
So I was watching a show, and they mentioned conkers and playing conkers and stuff because it was a British show, and I was just intrigued. I looked it up, and I was just like, oh, but no one's ever brought it up to me, and here you are talking to me about conkers, and I'm just like, I have so many questions.
Well.
Not something I ever did, because we probably just don't have the fruit here. We don't have the things here to do that. I've never played anything of the sort in my, like.
Well, me and Brad we'll video a conker match, and I'll send it to you with all the profanities that will go with it when somebody's hand gets hit by a conker. Ooh,
yeah, this is like how, like I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Okay, I'll video it and send it to you. But the thing is that I would never be able to have that conversation, give you any information about conkers or anything if my van hadn't needed to go to a particular place to get checked over and hopefully come out the other side feeling good. But all the other opportunities that have come from that, walk, seeing the hedgerows and what was growing in the hedgerows. I saw some really funny things growing in the hedgerows. I saw a shoe, a hard hat, a plastic piece of Tupperware tub. I saw many cans, an empty bottle of some kind of alcohol. It was great. And amongst that was the blackberries, the slowberry, the elderberry, and the rosehip. All strewn in together. How lovely. What
so I make, you may know, I make my own kombucha. And yesterday, or 2 days ago, I made a pear elderflower.
Ooh,
and I'm drinking that right now. It's so very nice. It's a very
lovely. What a fantastic combination as well.
Yeah. So as we talk about this, and we look at this, it's not what you can see. Right. It's like, is this title of this? And as it goes on, it says, as the harmony of beings that are remained centered in Tao inspires actions, those actions will have names. We're going to identify those actions as things. Know that those names are provisional. And that's even, like your life led you, like, so subtle, Tao has never been seen. It hasn't been seen, and yet everything that you saw along the way, all that stuff that you saw, had Tao within it.
Yeah.
And you got to enjoy it. And then that inspired you to play conkers. Now, you're going to go ahead and do that, and it may acquire a name where it's like, oh, let's play conkers every Saturday. Okay, that's all fine and good. But then what happens then is, like, that inspired an institution to form.
Yeah. The Conker Championships of Hampshire.
Right. So now you went from those actions will have names. Know that those names are provisional. If those names inspire institutions to form or rules to be created, know where their reach should end. Know that, like, we're not going to want to do it. Right. Yep. It's like, know that it's over. Like, I'm not really excited about doing this anymore. Can I be, just let go of it? Inspired actions, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously. Just let it go.
I do like it.
Tao is behind it all, even if you cannot see it.
Good work, Martin John. What a lovely number and what a lovely experience I've just had. Thanks very much.
Glad. Yeah, I'm looking
You're
forward to
amazing.
hearing more about Conkers.
Oh yeah,
Clunkers.
don't worry.
I
I'll send you a
don't know
video,
if
and
it's just
it'll make you laugh.
Oh, that's always good. I'm
Take care,
always
love.
up for a laugh. I love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one. So last night I went and saw Fidelio. Does anybody know what Fidelio is? It is Beethoven's only opera. And what a great opera. I thought it was really wonderful. And, all the pomp and circumstance of an opera. They had a huge platform on stage that spun so that you can get different scenes and stuff. And it spun, while they were all singing and all of these things. It was great. But yeah, it's I don't know why I even mentioned that. I was just the thought I would digress or shift to something, and nothing came. So here we are. We're talking about 32, and we talked about 67. I'm going to pull them both up and see if there's a connection between them that I can make about me or about what I'm experiencing. Right. So caught in manifestation. Some people they say Tao is stupid. Oh, that's what we were talking about. Stupid. We're talking about things being stupid. And it's okay. It's okay that things are stupid. Because if they're not stupid to you, if you think they're great, think they're great. No matter what it is, whether it's education. I mean, I was having a big conversation yesterday with Melissa about education and about reading. I think reading is stupid. Sorry, Melissa. But no, I think reading is great. And I do love, every day. This entire show is around reading. How can anyone think that I really think reading is stupid? Right? Because it isn't. It's great. And writing is great. And all of these things are great. But as we're looking at in this, don't allow names to take over. Don't allow there's no reason. I love you too, Melissa. We don't want to allow those names to take over. And I think that's something that we've done. I think that's something that we've done pretty explicitly, right? We have allowed ourselves to take the name of something, whether that's reading or whether it's whatever it is. We all have different judgments about, whether it's going to space or whether it's, the pharmaceutical industry. Or if you think what you're doing is great, that's great. But if you think everybody should do it, well, that's when something acquires a name. Once we think everybody should do a thing, it's acquired some sort of a name. We've put it in the world in a specific way in which we now compartmentalize it. And by compartmentalizing it in that way, I got another message. Things are stupid because we all think manifestation is more important than being ourselves. Kathy Marshall wrote that, and she's right. When something is more important than you, you get to this place of putting it in front of you, and you give up yourself for that. And that's what this is really looking at, this idea of when those actions acquire a name, know that those names are provisional. Even though you've acquired a name, right? But know that name and that identity of you, of me, Martin John or Martin or whatever, Marty or however people refer to me and whatever I refer to myself as, that's where the whole thing sort of starts to come off the rails. Because it's not I'm not Martin, right? I'm Tao, just like everything else. Now I get to experience all of this, and I get to experience myself from this standpoint, from these eyes, from this physical body. However, I'm more than that inside. I'm more than that. And when I get to be more than that, when I get to allow myself to be more than that, when I get to release, like all of the stuff that I'm holding on, all of the names that I've acquired over the years, when I get to release that, I get to really be myself. When I say being wealthy is important, and being wealthy and blah, 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 I am so important and I am wealthy, well, that's stupid. Because you're so much more than that. Now, you can go ahead and be wealthy, but that's going to lead you to a dead end eventually. You'll be able to entertain yourself long enough to, be where you are, do what you do, and all of these sorts of things. However, it is, it's important to recognize that you are the thing that's never ending. You are the thing that is never going to be done growing. And we could see in wealth that people are never satisfied, and that can, but that's just like drugs, right? That's addiction. That takes from us more than it gives us. And it's what we refer to as a hungry ghost. It's why, that's why Gabor wrote his book, Land of the Hungry Ghosts or whatever. Because Hungry Ghost is, I think it's Buddhist, actually. It's not Taoist. Not that anything should be Taoist, but I think it's Buddhist, talks about the hungry ghosts. And I'm not Buddhist. I don't want to be Buddhist. So things like that aren't what I'm looking for. I think it was Storm. Oh, that's beautiful. Kathy, thank you for writing that. She wrote about storms being the best to just watch and feel the emotional strength in a storm. And it passes, and that's the thing. Eventually it passes. Eventually, the storm will pass. And when you have that storm inside of you, when it's all riled up and your nervous system, like your nervous system is electrical. So that storm, that electrical storm, right? The lightning and thunder, that's all happening within you. And if we, we can attach to that feeling and identify as having that feeling. It's like, oh, well, I'm emotional. Brr, brr, brr. I used to do that. I used to be like, well, I'm emotional because I'm a Cancer. Brr. It's like, oh, I'm such an emotional, I'm so emotional. I'm sensitive. Brr. It's like, and when I do that, right, I start to, yes, this is what we were talking about with Mark in the beginning, the idea that, well, you identify something. Once you identify it, like, are you going to, you live that way, and then that which was once good will eventually turn bad. Like I was talking about my not wanting preference. Well, it's great for my diet because I had to shift my diet because of my MS diagnosis. So I had to shift my diet pretty drastically. And if I had preference, it would have been harder to do that. So my not having preference was good. It was good for me to not have preference. But then when it came to me releasing my Tao and being able to be proud of who I am and what I do and connect with people and allow people to celebrate me and to learn that I'm worth celebrating and to learn all of those things, I had to have a preference. And that preference was to do this, right? To do this workshop that I'm going to be doing on the 2nd of November, right? Because I had to realize that I was worth supporting. I had to realize that because I've had struggles with that as well, right? And so, like, as I face those things, now, if nobody shows up, no big deal. I'm just doing it. I don't have a preference on who shows up and how many people show up, but I do have a preference that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to reach out to people like you and people that I know support me and love me and to go. Now, if you don't go, that's not a big deal. Like if people that I care about don't go, I'm not going to hold it against anybody or whatever. It's not a big deal. But I have to face asking for support because I can receive and I can give. Now it's time for me to learn how to ask and receive the no's and the yeses and the maybes and all the things, and to be able to not care. If you can't go, okay, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to say you don't support me, because I know you do. And that's why you're here. You're listening because you support me. And you support me because hopefully this is beneficial for you in some way. Hopefully you're not doing this going, this is stupid and I just have to listen to it for some reason, right? No, hopefully you just enjoy doing this. It's stupid. I'm going to let you know right now. This show, stupid. But if you enjoy it, then it's great, because it is stupid. And I enjoy doing it, and I continue doing it. And I continue to do it because I love it. I love talking about Tao, and I love connecting with people, and I love you guys and this platform, just like the fact that I can talk to one person and really connect. Like I got to connect with Mark, and I got to connect with Julie, and then Melissa sent me a message, and Kathy sent me a message. And it's been such a beautiful morning. And is it stupid? Absolutely. But not for me. Right? And that's the thing. If you ask like Musk or Bezos if this was a productive good morning for me, they wouldn't say it was. I can't imagine that they would. Right? They would try and be like, well, I can do better. Yeah, okay. That's why it's stupid. Right? Because there's always someone out there, and that's what it says here, right? For those like caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. And that's okay. No big deal. Because if I love Tao and I love myself, then it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter what you think about what I do. Some people are going to think it's stupid. But I love it. And I'm going to continue doing it. And I'm going to continue loving who I am and what I do, regardless of what the manifestation is telling me. And you know, when I can surrender to that, things just get easier. You know, I mean, we can talk about money and weight and all of these things. And those things will balance themselves out when we can be ourselves. Because oftentimes, when we're broke, or when we're overweight, or when we're addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff, all of that is a child of an action that we're taking somewhere, right? And that's what the Tao talks about, right? You are a mother. Like all of these things that are coming into your life are the children of what your actions birth. And so it's important to be able to look at the actions. It's important to look at the children that your actions are birthing. And when you do that, you get to really just look at how you're thinking and how you're being, and just be curious. Be curious about where you're coming from and where you're going and how you're getting there. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, like, there's no right answer. There's no right answer for you. It's the answer that you come up with. And if you can get out of your own way, the answers come pretty easily. It's pretty obvious. I always say, do the next most obvious thing. The next most obvious thing. It's like, I don't know what to do. All right, then sit down and wait until you do. Like, that's the next most obvious thing. If you don't know what to do, just sit and wait. Eventually, you will know what to do. If you think you're going to sit on your butt for like 6 weeks and do nothing, you're wrong. Because eventually you're going to have to eat. Eventually you're going to go to bed. Eventually, don't wait for anything. Just sit and just wait. Because it will present itself. Something will need to be done. Hey, Melissa.
Well, hello, Martin John. I just pushed the button by mistake, but I guess, things don't really happen. But so I guess I was supposed to talk to you.
Well, I'm so glad you did.
Hey, you're using that S word again, Martin. Everything is stupid. But you know what? I understand, kind of, I think, because, you said when you try to understand too much, it just falls through your fingers. So I'm trying not to, think too much about it. But I mean, I guess what you're saying is that when you put too much emphasis on things, that the whole trip to Mars is stupid, that kind of. But,
Well,
you know.
and it is, you know, like as it says here, like in the first line of this, I think it's 67, right? Caught in manifestation. Some people say Tao is stupid. Now, it should be said that I did write this. So.
You like that S word, Martin.
I do. Well, you know, because that's what, you know, like it is what I was called when I was a kid, right? Like, so, it is. But so it's not, I had to recognize, you know, and the Tao talks about, like, if you want to be straight, you have to know how crooked you are. If you want to be smart, you have to know how stupid you are. You know, it's not, these are silly measurements. You know, and that's the thing.
There's measurements again.
You know, there's no reason to measure. And if I say something is stupid, it's because I'm not measuring it. Because stupid is just a word that is a measurement. And I say something is stupid, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't do it, or people shouldn't be inspired to do it. I want them to be inspired to do it, and I want them to do it even though it's stupid.
Yeah.
Because I want them to be who they are. If you were playing soccer when you were a little kid, and we're old enough to know when soccer was stupid. If you were playing soccer when you were a little kid and everyone said, "Oh, soccer's stupid, you got to play basketball or whatever, you got to do this." Like, I grew up in the city, so like basketball was the thing that was played all the time. It's like, well, then I'm going to live under the influence of other people telling me something stupid. And that's the problem. It's like, I love doing this, but now I can't do it because it's stupid. It's like, you should do it anyway. But when we're so hell-bent on being part of the group, if the group thinks something is stupid, then I'm not going to do it. And that's why I say what I do is stupid, because I want you to recognize that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it. And I love like it, I don't want to convince somebody that the word stupid is good, because but I don't put any weight on it. There's no weight on the word, because it's like, I don't want to measure things as stupid and good and bad. Like there's no reason for me to measure that. You know, like, just like Tao doesn't care if you think it's stupid and you're laughing at it. Like, yeah, go ahead and laugh at me. That's fine. I'm still here controlling all the things. I don't need your support.
Right.
You know? I don't need you to believe in me. You can believe in something completely different. That doesn't mean that I'm still not pulling the strings. That doesn't mean that I still don't have the strength to live this life that's inspiring others.
Well, thank you for that. I like that phrase you just said, having the strength to live this life. Because yesterday I was struggling, but you know what? It's a new day. It's Friday. Got a new attitude, and I got some wisdom from a friend. And
good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to let that love shine through and not be affected by the stupid. See, I'm using your word now, Martin. The stupid thing that somebody said about me.
And I don't want you to. I don't want.
True.
And I don't want to change your opinion of the word stupid, but I'm not going to change mine either.
No, I don't want you to change you, sweetheart. You're awesome just the way you are. But, yeah, you absolutely are. But, I'm never going to think that reading is stupid.
Right, right.
Because it's something that I love and that I'm passionate about. But I do like having a debate from time to time, and especially with somebody that's intellectual and can carry a conversation, and and I'm open to learning new and it, not only learning about others' perspectives, but I think that that's one of the things that makes our world wonderful, is trying to see things from other people's point of view, because right. I know Melissa's point of view can be stupid sometimes.
It's true. I mean, but mine is too. Well, then that's the thing. My point of view of the world, like I know that, just like this line says, some people say Tao is stupid, and that's totally okay. I am so good with that. Like, I'm not trying to convince anybody to care about Tao. When somebody comes up and tries to convince me to care about something else, I'm not flustered by that. I always just say, "Oh, okay, that's nice." because I receive it. Okay. Like one time somebody asked me, because I was raised Roman Catholic, well, why aren't I on the path of God? And I was just like, look, God is strong enough. If he wanted me to be on that path, he would put me there.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was also raised Catholic, but I stepped away from the Catholic faith when I was teaching at a Catholic school, and the parent went to the sister who was the principal then and said that she had a problem with me because her daughter came home and said that she wanted to be like me when she grew up. And the mother had a problem with that because I was a single parent. So I ended up parting ways with the Catholic faith because it was really mean and very judgmental. And I said to the principal
what do we say? It was stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
It was stupid. It was so stupid because, I told her, I was like, look, you knew this when you hired me, and I'm not ashamed of who I am or of having my daughter. And, the fact that you want me to, because the principal said, oh, well, I don't think you should talk about your child anymore, which was really stupid because I was like, okay, peace out. I ended up I didn't even finish that school year. I ended up, that's when I went back and got my master's degree because letting Catholics place judgment on me was very stupid. And so, you know what? And I'm so glad that you made me think about that, because that was something stupid and it wasn't true, just like the thing that was said yesterday. So thank you. See, you just helped me have an epiphany by bringing up Roman Catholicism. And see, look at you, Martin. That's why I say you're awesome, dude.
And it's not me. Right? It's like,
no, I know
thing.
It's the Tao working through you.
Yeah. And that's the thing that really kind of keeps us it keeps us from naming it. As it says, in the 32, as that harmony inspires actions, my action to mention something, those actions will acquire names. If I allow it to, I can say, I am clairvoyant. Brr. You've
got something, because you've picked up, of things about me with just hearing my voice. And I'm like, wow, how did you know that? So you can call it clairvoyance or whatever you want to call it, but you definitely got some powers of perception, my friend.
Well, again, those actions will have a name, clairvoyance or channeling or whatever. Know that those names are provisional. And if I can start from that space, knowing that it's provisional, and that although they can have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously. And I just get to be me.
And I think that's something I struggle with. Sometimes I take life too daggone seriously. I can be silly and I can be playful, but I also tend to take things too seriously at times, which is stupid. I agree. I know. I'm using your word a lot today, Martin.
Yeah. Don't call your kids stupid. Don't get used to saying that, because it's a hard one to overcome.
And I am so sorry that somebody said that to you. I would never say that to one of my kiddos.
Well, so let's pause there. Are you grateful for what I can offer to the world? That's a question. Are you grateful for that?
Am I grateful for what you offer to the world? Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, that wouldn't be the case if I wasn't called stupid.
Yeah, our life experiences do shape how we
there's
end up, just like the PTSD has shaped the Melissa that I am,
Right. You can't have one without the other.
Right. Absolutely.
And it fills me to know what I've done with this experience, what I've been able to, and to do it, and I was introduced to the Tao 20 some odd years ago or whatever, and it's helped me really understand so much, and I love going through it, and I don't go through this for you. I do it because I love doing it. I love the Tao. I love looking at the Tao every day, because it just constantly, it just fills me. Will there be a day that that's not the case? Probably. but that's not today.
Yeah, just like I love working with kiddos and I like trying to help them be better readers. And will there be a day that I don't want to do that anymore? Probably, but it's not today, Martin.
That's right. It is not today.
It is not. And I am going to hop off. I'm sorry I don't have a number today. I just
Quite
accidentally pressed, but
yeah, well, I'm glad you did.
Wanted me to stop in and chat with you this morning.
Well, I'm glad that we chatted and that, you understand. I was going to say that you understand how stupid things are.
Oh, Martin, I love you. Have a wonderful day, my friend. And don't get caught up in the stupidness.
No, I don't. I think
I know. I was saying that tongue in cheek.
Yeah. All right. Love you, dear. You have a good day.
You too.
Okay, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you guys for joining me. I so appreciate doing these and that you guys come up and join and chalk and chalk. I was going to say chat and talk, so you're chalking. Thank you, Mark and Julie and Melissa, for your accidental company. I appreciate it. All right. Well, today's Friday, so technically I may not. I think I might take the weekend off. I don't know. We'll see what happens when I wake up tomorrow. If you guys hear me over the weekend, wonderful. Good for me, good for you, all of that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday. I'm Martin John. Once again, I do have that workshop on November 2nd, so you can join that through my link tree, or it's the first link on the top of my website. So you can check that out if you're interested. Once again, I'm doing this to really kind of face a lot of stuff that I've dealt with, this idea of not having preference and whatnot. So if you're inclined to join that, I would love to have you there. It's going to be a 2.5-hour workshop all about the Tao. It's just going to kind of give us a baseline. It's going to give us a foundational kind of explanation of where the Tao is. I'm going to go through things, and I may do some of this sort of stuff where I, might call someone to pick a number so that we can kind of talk about how you can use it in your life day to day. Otherwise, it's just really going to talk about the Tao and what the basic tenements of the Tao are. So, or tenets of the Tao are. Tenements are places to live. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm Martin John. This is Tao of the Day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.